This segment is young professional, their behaviors toward credit. When they start off, they are unaware how it impacts their credit profile in the long term and how to manage it well. Using education as a lever, how do you work with these consumer segments?
It's very interesting actually. India is on the brink of consumerism. People look at credit as an enabler to improve life. They see aspirations want to be accomplished today.
I think we saw almost 7.2 million people looking at the credit score and credit builder products at our app. When we started off as one of the first lending products in the country, we never thought that people understand credit.
For Indian financial ecosystem, last 10 years have been outstanding. First UPI and then contactless payments, the advent of technology, or rather should I say bots, in credit decisioning, in wealth advisory, and then AI. But across these 10 years, amidst the 10 years, the rise of Fintech has been outstanding, a remarkable growth story that we have seen. In 2015, Fintechs started as a concept, mere as an experiment. When banks and large NBFCs dominated the credit landscape, Fintechs pivoted to mobile-first lending approach, digital KYC, and AI-backed credit decisioning. Fast forward 10 years, in 2025, Fintech scene is busy with more than 300 key active Fintechs serving diverse segments, be it consumption loans, salary advances, or even SME financing. Fintech lending is slated to cross $33 billion in 2025. And to talk more about this fascinating segment, learn more about the impact this segment have on millions of consumers in India, we have a special guest with us today. We have Mr. Akshay Mehrotra. Akshay is founder of Fibe, erstwhile Early Salary. In 2015 it started, and I believe it was one of the first fintech which disbursed the digital loan on mobile. And it started with purpose of serving credit needs of millions of salaried professionals and young salaried professionals, rather I say, through consumption loans and salary advances as such. Welcome to TransUnion CIBIL, Akshay.
Thank you very much.
So, Akshay, to start with, one of the first question I have is on consumer behavior towards credit, and especially the segment that you look at. This segment is young professional, their behaviors toward credit. When they start off, they are unaware how it impacts their credit profile in a long term and how to manage it well. Using education as a lever, how do you work with these consumer segments?
It's very interesting actually. If you look at India is on the brink of consumerism. People look at credit as an enabler to improve life.
Yes.
Right. They see aspirations want to be accomplished today. They believe that they will have a future earning much higher. And we see young India, especially the young India between 22 and 30, believing that incomes will become better. They want to live life today, and they use credit as an enabler for that. Right. We see a phenomenal amount of customers using credit to improve life, upgrade skill set, buy new products, build in experiences of travel, and also provide for cushioning for emergency money or repayments, or making sure that they can look after themselves and their family well. One of the key components here has been understanding of credit better, and young people have responded back by said, we would like to see how our credit behavior is getting looked at, how people come and say that we understand credit, and at the same time when we apply for a loan, we want to understand what goes behind it, how can I use it to a better angle, and how can I improve my life with it.
I think we saw almost 7.2 million people looking at the credit score and credit builder products at our app. We saw people coming back regularly. Almost more than 600,000 people every month go and subscribe to it, which means there's a large throughput of consumers coming in, taking up the credit product and then keep coming back and taking more product lines. When we started off as one of the first lending products in the country, we never thought that people understand credit. But we see young India being more cautious, understanding how credit improvement is important, how access to credit will be phenomenal in their growth journey, and people use it in a very, very smart manner to get access to personal loans or credit cards or BNPL. There's a huge opportunity for people to use credit better.
Wonderful. So, Akshay, coming to fintech lending, speed is an essence in fintech lending model, right? But when it comes to addressing speed, there is also about managing risk, managing intent, looking at capacity of consumer, the aspects that you want to decide on while you are making those lending decisions. How do you do that? And what is the role CIBIL solutions, play in the framework that you have set out?
So, excellent question. FinTech started with the era to say speed is hygiene, will be really fast. But at the same time, we had to prove that we could get a large amount of data, we could predict risk better, we could outperform the traditional players when it comes to risk assessment. At the same time, we have a great experience. But more importantly, we're able to build a large amount of data variables, analyze fast, and build very complex algorithms at the back of it. I'll give a lot of credit to CIBIL. We have been able to build the new scorecard, which is just about to go live with more than 25,000 trended variables. And the unique part is they're able to build the variables, able to convert them into deciphers and give a decision to a consumer. We've also been able to enrich this data by adding a lot of overlays, which includes visual recognition, sound recognition, to actually give decisions faster, and then build unique uses to make sure that you not only lend better, but also the customer gets judged. Customer is able to understand what goes in to build his credit. When you decision a customer, is very important you explain why that amount has been given, why we feel we can't lend to him, or why he can be given better. So analysis back of the file has to be given back to the consumer.
Yeah.
So it makes the association with the lender more transparent. He understands what's going on. And over time, the customer grows with us. Today, if you look at our profile of customers, 100% of our customers own a, let's say, corporate savings account. He gets his salary in his bank account. He's banked. But 90% of our customers have never been able to borrow from a bank. How do you really make sure the data is good enough that we can still lend, build a very good credit behavior for the consumer, analyze data coming in from the bureau, and give a decision, and then grow with the customer. Keep pinging the bureau regularly, upgrading the customer, downgrading the customer so his life cycle can be managed, and then build a very interesting offering. People have to understand credit, they have to use credit, and they have to grow with it. And we see CIBIL as a great partner of enabling data, bringing it a phenomenal speed. Like I mentioned, being Asia's fastest lender is a huge prerogative in customer decisioning. It allows him to borrow fast, be more efficient, and use credit to his need and his requirement better.
Wonderful. Now, in today's age, I also spoke about, near about 300 fintechs, active fintechs, large ones who are in play. And as a consumer, you have a problem of plenty. You have many offers, you have SMSs, email, and even social media pointing you towards various different loan offers that you can get your hands on. And many a times this can lead to over borrowing. And in some of the insights, we see that this may be an issue. So how do you, control this issue? Do you have any framework in place in controlling this issue?
Very relevant. I think what most people do is whenever there's money available, they borrow from everyone.
Yes.
Right, and they forget how to repay. How people end up falling in the debt trap, borrowing from one player to another player. I think we did a lot of work here. We call it the behavioral scorecard. It actually combines the customer outstanding in runtime regularly, and then giving back to the consumer what to do. Let's give an example. I have a loan running of, let's say, 200,000 rupees from Fibe, and suddenly I decide to swipe my credit card for 150,000 rupees. Right? The app is able to understand that behavior, able to go back to bureau and understand what's happening, and then go back to the customer and say, it looks like you're not going to be able to pay me as well as your credit card. I'm going to give you two options. Either you decide not to take any more loans from me, or let me go and pay off your credit card. There the interest rate is much higher. I'll convert this outstanding into maybe a 24 months tenure, so you can pay over time, reduce your interest burden, and at the same time have a good credit profile getting built out. Now, this is an amazing capability coming in because of data getting aggregated, data available in runtime on the consumer pie, and then making sure that the consumer understands how he utilizes credit better. He avoids the debt trap of falling into taking money from too expensive instruments. And then visually, you go back and explain the customer how it is done, right, in a non-evasive manner. And as knowledge picks up of these people, remember, once you service the customer where he's knowledgeable, he understands how to use the product, he's yours for life. He compares you and say, I like the provider, I will not run to the second provider in the market. And this is why I always say how credit can be democratized, but how you own the customer for lifelong. Pick how you control your credit profile, come back to the consumer, look at the, let's say, the CR file, back to the consumer and say how to use credit better, how to control your outstanding, how not to get over levered, and then use your credit profile to borrow more efficiently.
Wonderful. I think you spoke about consolidation, and I think having lesser amount of credit instruments will be able to, foster that discipline in consumers is what,
Absolutely. And majority time the problem takes place, people don't realize what are they borrowing for in the amount, right? And sometimes the interest rates are phenomenally high on some of these instruments, and sometimes you end up borrowing for such short tenures that you're just managing cash flows.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And to wrap it up, my last question is around what future holds. Digital lending has grown. We have seen era of technology playing critical role, AI now coming in. A lot of innovation have happened, embedded finance, use of account aggregator framework, right? From here, where do we go? And to address what is emerging in future, whether it's technology landscape or consumers, what are the steps that Fibe is taking? And along with institutions like TransUnion CIBIL, what are the steps that we can take to make sure of very inclusive and aware, credit aware consumer landscape?
It's a great question. It's very difficult to predict the future, but I call it the entrepreneurial mindset in technology world to say every 3 years you destroy, before the 4th year you have a new product offering. So what you built maybe 120 days old is obsolete today. That's the model changing. See, in a credit function, you have to educate the customer what is his product. At the same time, to educate the customer how to take, how to repay, how to pay on time, and then build a collections practice. And today we're already experimenting on humanoids taking over the consumer interaction. I think that's going to be the future. You may just find a visual screen as the entire bank maybe in 2 years down the line. And we see that's the future where you could understand your credit better. You can actually get everything you want just by interaction, right? And you can keep engaging further to improve your score, learn about your credit product, buy a product on EMI, pay, let's say, change your tenures because of that, manage limits because of that, and more importantly, you will be so personalized that there will be not one-to-many, one-to-one communication taking place, which is very difficult in today's financial services.
Yes.
But I would see that experience coming in the next 18 months much faster, and the future is really getting built today.
All I hear is AI.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Akshay, for coming to TransUnion CIBIL and sharing these wonderful insights with us. It was a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you very much.
At the end of today's session, it feels like it's not the end of Fintech story, but we are just beginning. There is so much to look forward to when it comes to contributions from Fintech, whether it's innovation to come and the inclusive growth and democratization of credit that Fintechs will continue to drive. That's it from our end in this episode. Thank you very much for joining us.